front. Danny Smith, Gary Irving is right front, and some me, that's me in the back.
When did the Cayuga races start?
Oh Lord, and back in the 30s, was they?
Did they really?
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about them when I was there because I was only there for 2 years. But still, I don't remember going out to watch them or anything like that.
Wow, because we went through the canal and everything. It took 3 days, and it was all done by scouting. Scouts, Boy Scouts, Explorers, and Sea Scouts did it. And of course, we went through the lockages up and down. Yeah, usually a 4-man team. Well, we never won, but one year, and, on the second blow up was through Gatun. We injected them oranges. We put some vodka in some oranges and had a little pack away. Even though we were too young, only 16, 17 at the most. So with that in those days, that was fun.
Well, was it originally just for?
Mike was asking about this picture the last time we spoke with him.
Was it originally just for Boy Scouts and was it originally just a Boy Scout thing, or was it always the Cayuga race? Was it open to everybody?
It was mainly Boy Scout, but they had the junior college had it broken there, but we had some people. To qualify to win, you had to have a 4-man crew. Some people had 20 in a big boat, but they were mainly drinking boats. Yeah, that's a picture made my uniform.
Wow, look at all that brass.
Yeah, been there, done that.
That's great, Frank.
And I'm trying to hold the thing steady. I'm in the kitchen now with more light.
Well, actually, I can see the photos really well. I mean, this is working pretty good.
Well, I'm glad. I'm holding it as steady as I can.
We just need more. We need more people to see them.
I know. Here's a picture of my airplane way back in this is the mid-60s. A small jet. I was instructor pilot. I saw airplanes, saw all the pilots how to fly, so it gets the wings. Anyway, I saw pictures for today. I can show them again later to the rest of the group when they get here.
Those are great. I love to see the old photos.
Let's see if I get this thing going here.
And I can see your kitchen and your pills and your sink.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get a picture of my face here. I'm pushing the wrong button here. There we go. Come on, this thing. There we go. I'm back live again. Okay, here comes
Oh, here comes Jim. Wow, you're back from the doctor early.
No, actually, it had to go pick up Dale's car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she got a new Mercedes about 6 months ago, and the other day she was driving it, and she saw a bear and a bear cub on the side of the road.
Really?
So she slowed down and to go around them, and the bear cub ran out and ran into the side of her car.
Oh my gosh.
And dented it in 3 different places on 3 different panels. So all 3 panels had to be repaired. So, but the bear got up and ran away. So,
like, what kind of bears do you have in Florida?
Well, we have the black bears, and there's a back road when you go to from here the villages over to Daytona Beach. It's a well-traveled road, but it's a 2-lane, and but it goes through the national forest. So you've got lots of bears and deer and stuff like that. You have to be very careful. So.
Well, look, Frank's showing you a great picture from graduation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're in there too. I think you and Bill are on the left someplace. The left's a picture to the right of me standing there giving the valedictorian.
Yeah.
Donnie Bruce on the far right.
Yeah.
And Reba and Ruby Lee is there. Who else? Bob Logan's there someplace.
Oops.
Yeah, there's Jim.
Trying to get my virtual background in here before I join you here. My office behind me.
I just got a virtual background of a rain in the rainforest.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that at, Ruth?
I think I just found it someplace and then I downloaded it to my computer and then I uploaded it to Zoom because you can collect any photograph you want as a virtual background.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Now let's see.
then-
trying to get, I hear you. I've got the audio, but I don't have the visual yet. Sorry.
Well, yeah, we can see you. So
You can see me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can see you.
Oh, okay. I wonder why I can't see you.
Well, maybe do you have gallery on or speaker?
My usual place that shows the gallery, I don't have it. I don't have the stuff at the top here. So let me just put this. Oh, now I see you.
There we go.
Good, and I'll put gallery here. There we are. Great. Oh, well, that rainforest looks fantastic. Boy, I feel right at home there.
I even have a bridge. See my bridge?
Oh, yeah.
Is that in Japan?
No, I don't know where it is. It's just I looked for. I did a search for a video that showed rain, because I thought that would be fun. And when you see it flicker, that means it's recycling the video, started over again. So it's just one scene that's been. Wait a minute. There's my bridge.
I don't hear any parrots.
Nope. You'll have to send me some.
Hey, Frank, do you still have a copy of your speech?
No, and this is what you haven't memorized it.
Oh, I don't know. Did you?
No, I had to memorize it. Yeah, I had to give it to Paul back to look at it. Had to have Dolly Smith check it over for grammar, and also I had to memorize the whole 11 minutes of it.
Dottie Smith checked it over?
Yeah, it was 11 minutes. It took me a long time. I was nervous as it can be. Anyway, Jim, we're going. Can you see that?
What?
Let's do the graduation ceremony.
You have a graduation ceremony on there? Is that us?
Yep, that's you.
Wow.
You're in there someplace. I have one too of you, Jim, myself, and there's one over here. I know you'll like this picture.
Oh, yeah, that's with our mothers.
Yeah.
I have a picture. I have that in black and white in my office. I've got that.
Yeah, we were getting a scholarship that time.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, as Frank, I was wondering after you gave your speech if it all came true.
Yes. The topic was, and you don't remember, of course, because you're probably asleep. A little learning is a dangerous thing.
A little learning.
Alexander Pope.
Yep, exactly. That was
And
good.
what I'm saying is, you can't stop here. If you quit learning here, you're dead. That was the import of the speech. We'll keep your mind open.
Wonderful. That's a good message.
Yeah. Little learning is a dangerous thing. Well,
Exactly.
listening my hero, here you go, Jim Will.
Yeah.
Got all his brass on.
Yeah.
Somebody had to be a hero. There's Tequila One.
Oh, that's the Cayuga race?
Cayuga, yeah. We got Gary Irving right in front of me, and then Danny Fly Smith and Jay Balkowski in the front.
Good, good.
You know, the flag has got 48 stars, meaning it was before 59.
Wow.
That's why it's the Cristobal Yacht Club.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the Cayuga race has become an international race now. They have Cayugas coming from all over the world.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
You know, Betty Ledoux, she was back, well, it's about 5 years ago now. She went down and actually raced in an all female canoe.
Wow.
She did it, I think, 3 years in a row, and they did pretty well. But she said they had people from Europe and places like that all coming in and racing, and they had a lot of actual professional kayakers. So
Wow.
yeah,
So it's grown a lot from the Boy Scouts.
exactly. Who's that, Frank?
Oh,
I
that's
think
Frank with,
I see Bill.
A million, Kenny Cooper.
Oh, okay. Where in the heck
He
is
just
Kenny?
saw Jack, Amberjack with his spear gun.
Huh.
That's back when we were young and slim, Jim.
Yeah.
Age and gravity happens. What the hell?
Right.
I'm going to another room now.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see if you can see this. It's a photograph, but it's got a glass, so I'm not sure whether you can actually see it or not. But it's this was a.
Oh, yeah. Look at that big
That's
tarpon hanging there.
No, that's a marlin. I caught that at the Tropic Star, which is it's down just on the border of Colombia and Panama, and it's actually owned by Mike and God, what's her name? And her wife, but they own it, and it's become one of the prestige fishing camps in the world.
Wow.
That was a 439 pound marlin. So,
Wow.
Is
Yeah.
Mike Angermiller?
Pardon?
Is Mike Angermiller?
No, it's Mike. God, I can't think of his name. He had a 38-foot boat that he used to take out a lot. We used to go down with him a lot, and you could just park the boats out in the harbor there. But then Mike, what they would do is my brother Robert, since he was an electrician, they would invite him down the week before the season actually started, so that he could do and check up all the electronics and the electrical work on the boats that they had, because they had 15 marlin boats.
Wow.
And so, but they would invite us down to come down and make sure that the restaurants were working and the bar was working. and yeah, we'd go out during the day and go marlin fishing, and then and when it was time to go back, then we would drop some hooks and get some fresh fish to cook that night. And you know, it's the amazing thing about it is all of their help were natives. Many of these were one generation past being headhunters.
Wow.
And they all wore white shirts and black bow ties, and it's really done. I mean, today I think people will fly down there and you'll go down for 5 days, and it costs you about about $4,500 for. And they have a motel-like place up on the hill, and then they have a rail thing that goes up the side of the hill to where the motel is, and it's just, just like any standard motel, but it's very, very nice. And there's only one way of getting there. You fly in from Paitilla, and you fly in, and you actually land on a road, and then on the other side of the river, and then they bring in a big dugout cayuca with two big engine motors on it, and pick you up, and they take you through the surf and back. That's the only way to get to the camp.
Wow. And is that camp located on Panama territory or Colombia?
Yeah. And it's about maybe 10 miles from the Colombian border. And it's a very interesting, beautiful place to go to. I mean, even if a lot of people would go there from the canal, that we used to go down there and not even fish. They would just go down there and enjoy the place, and have a good time and enjoy some great fresh fish and everything. And
Wow.
yeah, I've been down there probably, I guess, about 5 times now. So
wow, wonderful.
and that marlin there would, if you can imagine, now that thing was 439 pounds. 2 weeks later, my brother Robert caught one that was 900 pounds.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's enormous. They see, this is all catch and release, but what they did, they have a winch with a scale on it. So when you catch it, they lift it up, weigh it, and then drop it, take the hook and let it go.
Huh.
The one I took had regurgitated its stomach. So if we had let it go, the sharks would have eaten it. So we took it home, and my brother makes some great marlin stew and ceviche and stuff like that. So if you know how to cook it, marlin is actually not that bad. So
Wow. Amazing.
yeah.
Be like,
Wow.
be like a sailfish, wasn't it? Be like a sail.
Yeah, they had sailfish, and I mean, literally, when people were down there to fish marlin, and they'd get sailfish on. They just cut the line because they were getting in the way. But yeah, but there were some days when the marlin weren't. If the water is dirty at all, the marlin won't be there. And I mean, I can remember going out, and we had four of us fishing on the boat. We caught 35 sailfish.
Wow.
In one day, and those are released too. So, but it's the way the current comes up from Peru, and the water is about 800 feet deep there, and there just happens to be about 5 miles off the coast. There happens to be a mountain, underwater mountain, that comes up to about 90 feet below the surface of the Pacific.
Oh.
And the way the currents come in, they pushes all the bait up on top of that hill.
Huh.
And it's a hill that's maybe the top of it's 300 yards by 200 yards. But during the actual season, when you got the tropic star fishing boats there, and then the other people to count their fishing, you'll have 30 boats going back and forth across that thing. But when someone gets a marlin on, everybody scatters. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
You
why?
remember the name? You remember the name Eddie? Remember the name Eddie Fredericks? Eddie Fredericks.
No.
He didn't have any kid, but he's my neighbor on the top of 6th Street, across from Freddie Robinson and the Bruins and the Slowics. Anyway, he caught a record black marlin, 1,041 pounds, and he held the record for a year or two.
Yeah.
Black marlin. His name was Eddie Fredericks. He works on the docks.
Wow.
But he didn't have any kids, so you wouldn't probably know him.
There's my
Well,
grudge.
Hey, Mike, how you doing? We're just hearing about deep sea fishing. And what about that 439-pound marlin, Jim? What was it like to reel that thing in?
Well, see, there's two kind of different ways when you get a marlin on the line. Now, like my brother's, the 900-pound that he caught,
Yeah.
he got that in less than 40 minutes. And because the marlin came up and jumped about 10 times. Well, when they jump like that, they wear themselves out. And then it's just a matter of, mine jumped one time and then sounded. And it was like pulling a ton of stuff off the bottom. I mean, it was just bloody back and forth with my rod and reel. That took me 2.5 hours. So.
Wow. Amazing.
It's funny because I had a gray shirt on, and Robert was taking these pictures, and I'm playing it, and for 2.5 hours, and all of a sudden the gray shirt, by the time I'm done, it's dark gray. And then he's got about 5 beers lined up because they would sit there and help me have a beer while I was fighting the fish.
Wow. Amazing. So I wonder, Mike, did you make it down to this place?
Which place?
Tell him, explain, Jim.
Mike, it was the Tropic Star on the Pacific down towards Colombia.
No, I've never been down there. That's further east from the Pearl Islands, isn't it?
Well, it's actually straight down the coast. It's a marlin fishing camp that's right on the coast.
It's at the mouth of the Bayano River, I believe, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. Because if you
No, I've never been down that way. We weren't very active out in the Pacific Ocean, my dad and I.
Yeah.
We were up in the lakes mostly, and when we got back to Margarita, we would do inside the breakwater, and occasionally when it was nice, we'd go outside. But we were limited, whereas you fellas had different types of boats. You got around a lot more than we did.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that was kind of fun is on days when the water was really dirty and we knew that we weren't going to be fishing a whole lot, you could go up that river by Cayuca. You'd go up about maybe 20 miles, and there's actually native camps there, and you could trade with them. And with my dad, I can remember my dad when we were growing up. He used to go down there a lot. They went up there, and he came back with a shrunken head.
Woo!
Yeah, there were a lot of different indigenous tribes that lived in there that they couldn't even speak to one another. Their languages were different.
Yeah.
I was just talking this morning with a pal of mine who I went to the Maritime Academy with, and he ended up being a pilot all his career in the canal and retired. But he was telling me that they dammed up that Bayano River sometime in the 80s, and they badly designed it, and it's only about 6 feet deep. There's a huge lake up in there that's totally useless. They have a dam where they can generate some power, but it's limited too because there's no depth to the lake at all. And now there's the Autoridad de Canal Panama is contracting to spend billions to find new ways to provide freshwater resource to their operation of the canal. They're pretty desperate because it's dry season a larger percentage of the year down there now with climate change.
Well, they're apparently building 2 more dams up in the mountains to try to get some more fresh water. So.
Well, I hadn't heard anything about it, any new dams.
Yeah, I read this in it's at maritime.com, and it was they were just talking about some of the things that they're trying, and of course they've now put in a big surcharge for ships that go through the canal, and that's all. Eventually, that surcharge will be used to pay for these dams. So.
Yeah, they're calling it the freshwater charge. Yeah. I've been reading about that too. Unfortunately, or as a matter of fact, if you have a cargo that you want to deliver into Panama City and you come in from the Gulf of Panama just to use the docks there, you're also charged the freshwater charge. My pal down there says they're going to charge for air pretty soon.
Well, I guess they were just very concerned because the canal has been 5 years in a row now that the lake has been really low. So.
Well, part of the construction of the third set of locks included raising all the dams. They have not only Gatun Dam, but other saddle dams, including the one there at Peter McGill. And so they could actually raise the water level 2 feet, but they never got close to normal water level since they opened the third locks operation.
Yeah. But it's interesting when you're going through the canal now, and we went through on a cruise ship on the old canal, and then there's one spot, and it's just before Peter McGill, where you can see the channel for the new canal, and those ships are higher than the ships from the old canal. And then I guess they go down in the next set of locks, and that's how they catch up. So
yeah, that's the Coakley Channel there. That the third lock system has the 3 chambers at the south end of that channel. It parallels the old canal, but that's channel is at the same level as when you go into Peter McGill locks. But then when you're down in Miraflores Lake there, you're down 30, 40 feet below the level of the Coakley Channel. Until you get to Miraflores locks, then everything gets equalized when they exit into the salt water.
Yeah, geez. Well, it was a good feat that they were able to put it in again like that.
Well, they're making billions of dollars a year. They're even, my friend Tim was a pilot I mentioned. I was talking to him this morning about the auctions that they have. It's either internet or satellite that the ships can bid over the airwaves for an accelerated transit time, and they're getting $35,000 to $65,000 extra per transit on these auctions, so you can step in front of the traffic.
Wow.
Lots of different charges. They're just going crazy with these charges. It's maddening everybody.
I'll bet. Yeah. Jeez. Well.
So we were expected to be on the road today, and I didn't expect to be able to join your Zoom because I began to wonder the road noise would probably interfere with the selection of the person speaking on this Zoom type of thing. So here I am. We didn't leave after all. Instead of driving, we're going to fly on Saturday out to Colorado.
Yeah. And what are you going to do in Colorado?
Well, my friend Tim, who I just mentioned a couple of times this morning, has a timeshare in Copper Mountain, and they forgot to put it up for rent or exchange it this year with their exchange facility or company. So he just called me up and says, "Hey, Reg, you want to take it for a week?" I said, "Hell yeah." So I went out and bought tires the other day. And then my wife says, "Michael, I don't want to be driving 3 days to get to the resort. And then we'll want to drive around and see that part of southeastern Colorado in the mountains. I won't be up to driving, so we better have a different plan." So I said, "Oh, okay, check it out." So she went out and traded points with American Airlines for tickets, and then of course the timeshare is already paid for, and we rented a car for $300 for 6 days. So that's the way we're going now.
Yeah,
It ought to work out.
yeah, you'll love Copper Mountain. I used to do a lot of skiing there. So
Oh, did you?
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting. The Copper, and I don't know whether Jerry still owns it, but Copper Mountain is a federal-owned land. But Copper Mountain was owned by a young guy out of St. Louis. He was an oil trader, and he, at the age of 38, he was one of the richest men in the United States, and Tony Novelli, and but he outright owned the whole place. And so what he would do is twice a year, he would have all of his bankers and all of his traders come out to Copper Mountain. They'd give you a pin to put on your shirt, and no matter where you went with that pin, it was all paid for. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, so we, normally for 4 days, and they would have race. I mean, that was where I first learned to ski. I mean, what he would do is all the beginning skiers, what he would do is invite all of his the male and the female ski instructors. And so if you were male, he would assign you a female, and he said, "Okay, take him out." And I mean, by the end of the second day, I had gone to all the way to the intermediate slope, and never got past that because I didn't have the guts to go down an expert slope. But
oh, well, that's punishment, hitting all those moguls like that.
yeah.
And what years are you talking about where you were doing that skiing?
That was let me see, that was 70, 78, 79, 90, some all around in there. Yeah.
Well, I stopped skiing in 97 when I moved to Monterey. And I haven't thought about being on skis nor water skis ever since, knowing how fragile we get at this age.
Yeah. No, I gave up skiing when my knees started getting bad. So.
Yeah, well, the skiing will cause your knees to go bad if you keep at it. And skiing in the Pacific Northwest isn't like skiing in Colorado. The snow out there is just ready to turn to water. It's so heavy that you can't even lift your skis up when it piles up on top of your skis because it's so heavy. So you can imagine the torque that's on your knees when you're trying to make turns or go down moguls with that stuff present. It's torture. But it was cheap. It was the cheapest place in the whole country to ski was Northwest Washington and Mount Baker.
Huh.
I don't know what they charge now, but back then you could go skiing from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night for $16 in the weekdays.
Yeah, it's about $16 every 5 minutes now.
Yeah, right.
My grandchildren still go skiing at Mount Baker.
Oh yeah, well I'm sure they're having fun there.
Yeah, we were I guess about maybe the third or fourth time I had been skiing. I took some clients out to Park City, and but he lived in Salt Lake City, and so we said we'll meet at 7 o'clock in the morning and have breakfast, and Well, we got there, and of course, it was raining. Well, for all of us, that was, I mean, I just said, well, I guess we're not going skiing. And he walks in, he says, come on, got time to go skiing. I said, what do you mean it's raining? He said, just follow me. He got us up on the ski lift, took us up 3 levels. And once you got above the cloud level, we were skiing on about 2 feet of powder. And, you know, I mean, it's a totally different type of skiing and powder.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine, but only imagine. I've never experienced it.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
then,
back in the Pacific Northwest, because of the wetness of the snow, we would usually ski wearing rain gear, yellow slickers. Well, when you fall down with rain gear, you're just like at the bottom of a ski. There's no stopping you. It's hell. Then if your straps come off, you got to go trudging back uphill to find your loose ski. What a pain in the neck.
yeah, when we'd go to Copper Mountain, what they would do is they'd get a tractor and just throw about 5 ropes behind it. And they'd get maybe 100 skiers, and they'd take us up to the top of the mountain. And on the other side of the top of the mountain was a bowl, and you could ski down into the bowl. Well, I mean, the powder in the bowl at some points was 5 feet deep. So you fell over.
Holy
You
smoke.
fall over, and they couldn't find you half the time. And you know, there was about 4 or 5 people lost skis, and he said, "Oh, we'll just come back up in springtime and get the skis later."
Yeah, I guess that's the only way, right? Unless they had a metal detector.
Yeah.
Are they
We
big?
just joined. Oh, John, there's John. Yeah.
Hey, John.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Okay, are the fires still burning out there?
Oh, you better believe it. It's getting worse and worse.
Terrible.
You can't imagine how big it is. It's 150,000 acres. The one
Did it come
by
over
me.
the mountain yet?
It hasn't reached up to the top of the mountain yet, but they can't get it out, so who knows what's going to happen.
So you still have everything packed to go if you have to?
Yeah, I have everything packed to go, but it means that everything else I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
But you know, it's really bizarre. You know, I've been through every kind of a disaster you can imagine, and like I said, I've had my backyard on fire before, and I was saved by the Boride bomber dropped the whole load on me, and so I just keep you know, going on my good karma and see what happens next. I'm getting ready a little bit later on today to go rent a storage unit to put all my motorcycles and cars in and everything. Get as much stuff out of here as I can, because it's not looking that good.
And I was just talking to my pal who lives at the top of the ridge there above Oakland, Berkeley, where I built a house in 1970. In 1982, they had the Caldecott Tunnel fire there, and it wiped out 3,300 homes in that same area. And I was just reading the other day that fire is a historical 25 to 30 year reoccurrence. And so they're overdue. And what with the conditions now, with they don't call them Chinooks in California, the wind that comes out of the Diablos, it's the conditions are so great. He's got everything packed up too, ready to move off the hill. All those houses are made out of wood. They're all cliff hangers, and the fire comes from below. Just, you're so vulnerable, I tell you.
Well, the difficulty too is the roads are so narrow and twisty to get everybody evacuated is very difficult.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Let me see. I got this picture on my thing here. I don't. Where's my camera? You see the red parts of the fire,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you see the white road. You see where the two roads intersect?
Yeah.
That's my house.
Oh, oh man. What are you doing talking to us? You ought to be on the road.
Wow.
Well, you gotta just deal with it, and by talking to you people, I at least have a way to vent, whatever I feel and everything. And I got a question. Are you guys armed?
Yep.
Armed?
Yeah, armed.
Yes.
We're all ex-military, and this country is coming down to some really weird conclusions here. I was just curious because I'm totally armed up here because I'm by myself, and I've already had the encounters with the bear and everything. But I don't know, things are really weird right now.
Do those bears run when they see an AR-15?
I know, but when I shoot my 12 gauge over the top of the head, they sure do. I'm not, I killed so many animals when I was in Panama that I'm overkilling. And so I don't kill anything anymore. And I just scare it out of the way. Same thing in Hawaii. Hawaii, I had wild boars. And my favorite gun for that was a 30 caliber carbine. And, they talked about that round not being that good. Well, I'll tell you, it knocks them deader than a doornail if you shoot them in the right spot.
Well, here in South Texas, we live alongside the golf course, and it's bordered by huge drainage. So when COVID shut down the golf course, all the wild critters kind of moved immediately onto the golf course. It's open now, but daily they're seeing javelina and seeing also these huge feral hogs, which weigh like 200 to 300 pounds. So having something 30 caliber is not a bad idea. And we worry about it when we go out for walks because we're walking around the periphery of the golf course.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, we used to play the golf course in Tucson, and they were out there on the golf course all the time. And you had to be very, very careful with them.
Yeah, the javelinas are everywhere in Tucson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a call a little bit afternoon.
Of course, I was at one time up at Banff playing golf. I was up there for a board of directors meeting, and we were playing golf. There were so many deer. I went just out on the golf course, and you could hit your drive, and they'd land right next to you, and you walk up, and they wouldn't even move. You had to almost push them out of the way. And but the one thing they told us, okay, remember, those are deer. But if you see one that doesn't look like a deer, but maybe an elk, get the hell out.
They're pretty aggressive.
They'll chase you.
Wow.
Isn't that Banff a beautiful area there?
Oh, beautiful, yeah. But you can go into Banff and they'd have the elk walking right down Main Street in Banff. So
wow.
And in 79 and 80, there was no snow in the Cascade Mountains, and my wife and I wanted to go skiing, so we drove up to Banff from the San Juan Islands there, and there was no snow there either. But that huge area that's just west of Banff called Vermilion Lakes, it's kind of a swampland.
yeah.
It was all frozen over, and because there was no snow, it was like slick as glass. So we spent 3 days in Banff ice skating on that huge lake. It was marvelous.
Well, I got a story for you because my ex-wife worked at the ski resort, and every day I had to drive her to work. And then I got to go up on the mountain with the ski patrol and start skiing then before everybody came. And because I had an employee pass and everything, all the women that were married to the guys that worked at the ski resort had employee passes, and they didn't want to ride up with just the tourists, so they would all ride up with me. So my day got spent skiing with all the women from the ski resort that their husbands were at work.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
Actually,
I got to be a really good skier, so I enjoyed it.
for many years, my wife was the only woman professor in her department of East Asian languages and literatures here. And the Chinese would always have big dinners at their homes. And all the professors would be in one room, and all the wives and me would be in the other one. And so my wife was the only woman among all the men, and I was the only man among all the women. I think I had the better deal.
Where are you, Ruth Ann? You look like you're in a park somewhere.
No, I'm in Panama. No,
Really, you are?
no. I just put a background that's got rain in it. I'm hoping
Yeah,
it'll help with John's fire problem.
I can see the rain. Yeah, good idea with a fire problem too. Check this out. I didn't realize I was wearing this shirt for today's Zoom, but see,
Oh, Canal's on it.
Woohoo!
Oh, yeah,
Sure.
look at that.
yeah, well, coincidences happen.
Great.
So when do
I have-
you leave for Colorado?
We're going to fly out Saturday morning at 6 a.m. from South Texas here. And we have to change a plane in Houston and it goes right to Denver, and we have a rental car waiting there for us. And from what they say, it's about a 2-hour drive over to Copper Mountain from there.
Did you have any storm problems during this last little squall?
No, the Sally went north and east of us, and then Beta was a little bit less north and east of us, but we didn't even get cloudy skies down here in the south.
Good.
Yeah, there was one time out with last week, I guess, and I'd look at the radar. You could see 5 hurricanes or tropical storms all on the radar at one time.
Oh yeah, it can be intense out there. We came across the Atlantic from Amsterdam 2 falls ago, and they kept diverting the course because we were dodging 3 hurricanes in mid-Atlantic at the same time. It never got rough. They did a good job of keeping us in clear weather. But as we can see, the hurricane disturbance is quite isolated. It doesn't extend for hundreds and hundreds of miles. So that's the savior of the people that are navigating.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys ever fly? Well, other than Frank, he's a professional pilot, but did any of you ever fly airplanes?
I've flown a glider. I did quite a few.
Flown a variety. Yeah, but
Well, I had a friend of mine that was a pilot, and he took me up on a trial run, and then we got in the plane and taxied down the end of the runways, and then he turned to me and he says, "Okay, now you've got it." Shoved the throttles forward and took off, and he kept telling me, "Okay, do this, do that." And then we got way up there, and when we got up there, it was really boring because it's, just a little prop plane. It doesn't go very fast, and the ground's moving kind of slow. It's not like a motorcycle ride.
As a pilot, let me tell you something, Johnny. As a pilot, flying is boredom interspersed with moments of stark terror.
Yeah, exactly.
I went up with a man who was, he was a professor at the university where I worked, who is completing one of his tasks for certification. And he said, "You want to come along?" So I said, okay. So that he and the instructor had dual controls, that kind of thing. And we went up and he said, "Okay, we're going to do the dead stick, where you just, and you don't know if you're coming back up." And it was like, I didn't know this was part of the deal. So we went through several of those exercises.
My youngest daughter, who lives out in Seattle, was completing her pilot's training, and she didn't have a permanent squeeze at the time, so her dates would be taking her out, and they would step in to try to do things for her, and she says, leave me alone, I can fly a plane,
Well, I don't know about it.
Frank, what's that?
I got a picture up there right now of a C-37. I've got 2,000 hours in these little things. They're small jet trainers. Many years. As a
Yeah,
matter
that's
of fact, on the Canal Zone reunion, 2 years I brought down Mike Barfield and a C-33 from, I had an airplane at Andrews Air Force Base, and also Gordon Reef. Remember Gordy Reef?
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
was
Gordy
passing
Reef.
through behind us. But Mike Barfield, I picked him up his Robins and took him down to MacDill, where we had the Class B, Canal Zone union back in 1981 or 2, that time frame. But yeah, we arrived at the hotel in flight suits and helmets and all that crap in a staff car. It was very impressive. We flew down. They're quite not legal what I was doing, but I didn't tell anybody.
I flew what Frank, what was it, the T-34, the trainer?
T-37 is the one you're seeing right now.
Yeah, but if you're talking about back in the 60s, what would that have been, a T-34?
C-33.
Yeah,
The C-34
yeah.
is the
I went
prop.
to, when I was at NROTC at Tech, I went down to Pensacola and for 2 weeks of what they call flight training, just to see if you're interested in flying. But they took us up a couple times in the trainers. But I'll never, the one day he said, all right, we're going to do touch and go. And so I flew it in and I touched it. And he said, okay, now go. Well, I said, go. I pulled back and he said, no. He said, he said, we almost bounced the tail off the runway trying to get off. He says, you don't have to pull it back that hard.
Wow.
Prop jet, Jim.
It was a prop.
Yeah, it's probably a C-2 or C-34, yeah.
Yeah.
Calling Texan.
Yeah, that's because I ended up getting accepted to flight school, but I decided that I had always said I was going to be on the destroyer from the time I was about 7 years old. And so I said, I'll go to sea for a year. And if I don't like it, then I'll come back to flight school. Well, that's after that was when I had the helicopter crash. And I said that was a good omen not to go back to flight school.
I never crashed, thank goodness, but I came close several times. You're either dead or not and flying. You don't get injured too often.
Well, when I was drafted,
It took a while.
when I was drafted into the military, all my scores were all at the top and everything, and I told them I wanted to be a helicopter pilot, and they never told me that I had to do my 2 years before that I could be a helicopter pilot. And so I kept waiting to go to school. It never happened. And then it got down to let me out, and they said, oh, you can be a helicopter pilot now. And I says, yeah, all them guys are dying in Vietnam and you want to send me over there now? Forget it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the interesting thing today, and Frank probably knows this, when they're looking for people in the military, for pilots, they're looking for young kids that have spent a lot of time on games,
Video games.
And my nephew, Raymond, which is Robert's son, he's always was on video games. In fact, Robert would go and he said to be there at 3 o'clock in the morning and he'd have the stick in his hand. He said, where are you flying to? And I guess there's a program that you can get on to, and it's like you're flying your own airplane. And there's other people that are on the same program, and they're flying from different locations, and you have to watch out for them and stuff like that. It's reality. I mean, it's really like you're really flying. And so when he went to Embry-Riddle, he decided that he wanted to at least get some pilot training. Well, I think frankly, there's something like 30 hours of flying before they let you solo. He soloed in 7 hours.
It can be as little as 12 to 15, but
the pilot said, he said, this kid is a natural. He said, it must have been all that time flying on a video game because he was a perfect pilot. And he did. He got his certificate in 7 hours. So
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
you can solo at about 12 and you get your license about 40.
yeah,
After 8 rules. If I got a commercial, never have used it.
well now he got his degree in electronics and taking care of the airframes, and now he works for a company that has Army contracts to fly the drones. And so he's been to Afghanistan, I think 4 times, and Kuwait twice now. So, but he's given that up. He said he only goes over 4 hours. I mean, four weeks. I mean, months at a time. But he said after that many deployments, he said, I'm not going to do it anymore. So.
Well, for the interesting thing is I was in Afghanistan twice, and in 1970s, before the Afghan war started, and before all that stuff was going on, and I was a guest of the underground king of Kandahar, and I spent quite a lot of time there doing a sort of different things. The worst part about it all was the food. There was nothing that I could eat. Finally, we found out that we could buy bread and eggs in the supermarket, not the market, but the regular everyday market. And I had a bottle of maple syrup. So every day we ate French toast. And that's what I survived on there.
But Frank's got the football picture up.
Jim, you're the top left, Jim.
Yeah.
I'm number 36, way at the bottom right, someplace next to Perry Walker.
Do you see number 44 in there?
I'm looking at Jim. I couldn't find you. You might be in here.
You're probably in the back, Jim, because you're tall.
I don't know. Sometimes I was
48. Yeah.
What?
I'm in the bottom right next to Perry Walker, number 36.
Huh.
And Bush Hilty's right next to me.
So what did you weigh in those days? What did you weigh, Frank? Like 125?
There I am. Isn't
I
that
was
me?
128. I'm 114 now, for Christ's sake.
I think I'm in the
I've
front
lost
row.
15 pounds since high school.
Where is it, Jim? Where are you at?
I think I'm in the front row on one knee there, but number 44. Can you see? I can't see the numbers.
I can see the numbers.
On the left side, maybe 3 or 4 people in.
I see. That's 14. That's 14.
That's 43.
Uh-huh. Oh, I know I'm in there, but I probably can't be seen on this picture.
Probably the 1957 yearbook.
Oh, 57? Oh, maybe
Yeah.
not. I guess I joined the team in probably 58. Yeah. I didn't go out until my junior year.
Oh, I was out by 58. My 1 year was enough. I've been joining the band.
Didn't we just have the new coach coming from Texas our junior year?
Is it Ingram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach Ingram.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
go
we
help
won
him
the
out. Go help him out.
Yeah.
Help him out, Ingram.
Yeah,
There's Columbo right there.
that was before Ingram. Yeah. And then I think we won the championship that year, didn't we? Our junior year? Or was it our senior year we won? And that was only because it poured down rain when we played Balboa, so their fast backs were slowed down in the mud. We could beat them. Yeah.
I was in the band by that time. Thank you.
Frank, where are you getting all these pictures?
I don't know. I get these boxes I go through, and I don't know where the hell it comes from, but I have them all over the place. Let's see what else we got here.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at some of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. When my mom passed away, we found a Foot Locker, and my mom had saved every letter that any one of us kids ever sent to her when we were young.
Wow.
And you know, I keep on saying I'm going to sit down and read all these things. Particularly, I like to read the ones from Vietnam, but we had them all in one big box. So,
Oh, that's a treasure trove.
yeah,
Really.
definitely.
Yeah, you gotta hang on to all the stuff like that, and you gotta have it where, you know, in case there's any kinds of a disaster, that you can make sure you can get that stuff with you. Because once you lose it, you know, you'll never get it back. So we're the only ones that got that kind of information, and we're all hanging on to it for dear life.
That's why I put it all on digital on my laptop. So all I have to do is pick that up and go.
Yeah, that's real convenient. That's my thought of conserving a lot of those photographs when I was writing my memoir. So that's why it's so extensive. I just found photographs in a box like you're all talking about. Oh, the memory came back, so I just wrote about it, put it on smart sticks. And they could go into this fireproof safe, no problem.
Good
Yeah.
practice, that picture.
I regret never not doing that because I have some memories like getting arrested for espionage, all kinds of stuff in Bangkok, Thailand, and jail. Oh yeah.
So Ruth Ann, you were going to tell us about when you went to jail.
Oh, when
that
I
was in
went to jail,
Bangkok, Thailand. That was espionage with the show. At what time?
I don't think I ever went to jail, did I?
I'm joking with you.
I know, but that sounds like a wonderful, I did go to jail to visit a kid, visit a son. I won't tell you which one. But,
Well, let me tell you a story about me going to jail. I was hired to fly to Mozambique to pick up a ship and bring it back to Houston. And when I flew from Monterey up to Europe and then down to Johannesburg and then over to Mozambique. And the flight from Johannesburg to Mozambique was about 3 hours. And the airplane was full of different uniforms. And I started inquiring around, and all the uniformed people were from aid societies, and they were from Central Europe and Northern Europe and just everywhere. When we landed, of course, we had to go through customs and migration, which is common when you're entering a country. And none of them, including myself, had visas. So they arrested us all, including these relief people, and they threw us into this huge tank. And it was like a drunk tank times 10. And because my agent of the shipping company was there, I was one of the first ones to get bailed out. And I saw him pass a big amount of cash to the people in charge. So it was just a big extortion group. But no telling how long all those volunteer people waited to get out of the jail in order to do their job helping people that were devastated because of a huge flood that had hit. And the city of Maputo, which used to be Lorenzo Marx, was where we had landed. That's the capital city of Mozambique. And it had rained there solidly for 12 days and nothing worked. There was no power. The sewage was running down the streets in quite big rivers. It was just god awful. I was so happy to get aboard the ship, and when we threw off the lines to get away from that just disgusting place, it was just awful.
Wow.
well, you guys, I'm going to put up a picture, and this is I guess the orchestra playing at the school. I'm not even sure what year that is, but I can't remember how I did my slideshow before. Anyway, this is a fun way to, I guess what I was going to say is what I do is I collect my photos. And then you guys I steal them or capture them from the internet. some of these I went to the Florida website that has our yearbook on it, and I just captured the photographs and saved it to my computer in like, this is a yearbook folder, and then I can show you, you know, pages from the yearbook. Well, there's Jim up at top,
Yep.
and you can see, I don't know how to make it, I don't do this very often. There's Mrs. Reefco, everybody remembers her.
Yeah, where is
Tell
she?
her.
Oh, I think she's passed on.
Yeah, she did. She passed away.
My suggestion to you guys is that you can also, oh, how did I lose that? Anyway, that's probably all you want to see. Oh, I know, I just enlarged it. That's what happened. So that's the thing I suggest you to do, is just capture them from the internet, or take your photographs and take a photo with your phone, and then you have it on your phone. You can keep it all in one spot, and then you can see you've got them digitally. Like I say, you pick up your laptop and go if there's a disaster looming, and you've got all your documents and all your photographs there. So that's my little suggestion for the day.
Good
Cool.
one. There's McGloin, our class president.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
and there's Jimmy Palumbo.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is nice for me, because remember when I thought I had lost my yearbook and Jim McGloin lent me one of his for a couple of years? I really was devastated that I thought I had lost my yearbook. And so this is another reason that I captured them from the Florida State website, so that I'd always have them.
Huh.
So it's an easy thing to do. You just right click on the photograph and then download it to your computer and save it in a folder. So
Huh.
it's not like it's a big technical thing. It's pretty easy to do, and I suggest you try that. So
Do you have the link to that Florida State, the archives?
I think you can just look for Canal archives. Just do a search for that, and it should hook you up with Florida State, or I can send it to you.
Okay. That would be great if you could just text me a link.
Yeah, if I can locate it right now, I'll just put it up there too. So
Text it to everybody so I have it too.
yeah, I will.
Good.
Well, you know, what's really interesting on that website is the oral history. And I have my oral history on there, where I was involved in the Panama riots, with the big one that caused all the problems and everything.
Huh.
And I told the story the way it really happened, not the way the Panamanians lied about it. And so they recorded it on the oral history.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
I would
Well,
too.
Yeah, I wrote it. I had gone home around that time, my senior year at Notre Dame, and I then went back to Notre Dame and wrote an article in the Notre Dame Scholastic about that. I'd like to compare what I wrote with what you said in your oral history. But the editor of the Scholastic said, "Where have you been all these 4 years? We could have used you as a writer on this magazine." But
well, the reason why it worked for me is, you know, unbelievably, that I was riding my motorcycle by Balboa High School when I saw this crowd of people there, and I parked my motorcycle and walked over there. And as I walked over there and walked up to the flagpole, everybody was standing on the bench around the flagpole. And as I got there, so didn't the Panamanian guy with the flag. And I was standing right next to him. And he tried to step up on the bench and there was no room. And so as he stepped back, the flag caught in the thorn bushes there and ripped. And he grabbed the flag and held it up and said, "They tore the flag, they tore the flag." And they all started running from there towards the administration building. And that's the way the whole riot started. They claimed that we tore the flag, and it was a lie. The guy tore it himself on the bushes.
Wow. Wow.
Okay,
And
do
then
you, oh, never mind. I was just,
then I got on my motorcycle and I followed those guys all the way to Ancon to the post office. And they went down to the school there and came back with a whole bunch of people, and the military was already there, and they got into the riots. And then I ended up, because we got tear gas so bad, that I ended up going to the hotel, Washington Hotel, and was in the dining room in the air conditioning. And then they broke the windows out of that with the rocks. And so then we went upstairs into the top, and I walked by this room, and the door was open, and I walked in there, and the guy was laying on the balcony, a military guy with a rifle and a scope, and he was shooting at a Panamanian over in Panama City that was trying to shoot the cops. And he was asking me, can you slide me the ammunition? So I was sliding the ammo out to him while he was shooting back at the guy. And then finally an officer came in and said, what the hell are you doing here? And they threw me out.
Holy smokes.
Wow.
But I was when that was happened when I was up at schools in college still, and we had a Latin American club, and WGST, which was Georgia, the Atlanta radio station, contacted the Latin American club. They wanted someone from Panama and someone from the Canal Zone. So it turns out my roommate was a Panamanian, Paul Legnadir. I mean, Raul Estripol. And so we went down and we were on radio in kind of giving both sides. You know, I was giving the Canal Zone side. He was giving, oh boy, for a week, we were on every TV station and TV show in Atlanta.
Well, you know, the other thing that happened was the fact that, you know, the Panamanians claimed that we killed all those kids. Well, I was there when it happened, and you know, those kids went into the Pan American building and they were trashing the whole place. And so they trashed all the files downstairs and then they set them on fire. Well, unbeknown to them, those other kids, the 21 that died, were upstairs, and they all died of smoke inhalation. And they tried to blame that on the Americans. And you know, and they have that flag there by the Pan American building with you know, the Panamanian statue, right? And it's all a total lie. And I did this oral history where I told the whole story of what I saw when I was there, and I watched it all.
Wow.
where is that kept, John? Where is that oral history kept?
It's kept in the school that's there.
What's FSU?
That middle college, it's in the middle of Florida there, where
Well,
all the
perhaps,
canals on.
Panama
you could-
Canal Museum there at
yeah,
Yeah.
Gainesville.
do you guys
Yeah.
know how to look at chat on your computer? That's down at the bottom.
Yeah.
If you click on chat, you'll see the link and all the information about the Panama Canal Museum collection. And I'm sure
You go on the oral history there, and there's all the stories where people told about living in the Canal Zone and the mango trees and everything. It's really a beautiful sight.
Well, listen, you guys, do you know how to find it? It's down where your mute and your video buttons are, participants, and then there's chat. And if you just, it's a toggle switch. So if you just click on it once, you'll see all the information that I loaded on there about the website.
Oh yeah, chat. There you are. Okay, yeah. Now, maybe I should take a picture of that.
Well, no, actually, all you have to do is click the link that's in blue. And that'll take you to the site. You won't lose your place here.
Okay. It said copy URL. Is that what I hit?
Well, I guess you can do, I don't know. I'm going to try that myself since I just suggested it. I just clicked on the link and it took me right to the website.
Yeah.
And then I clicked back on my Zoom and I'm back to you guys. So that's an easy access. You can just search the site for anything, and that's the best repository. That's where I got all the high school photographs that I just, did a right click and downloaded it to my computer individually.
Wonderful.
So enough of the lesson, back to the conversation.
Okay. Good.
Uh-oh. There it is.
So will this one give us John's oral history?
Well, you
Or
can
is it-
search for it there. Just look for oral history or, it's a good website. It's what I've used for everything. That's where like I said, I've started downloading photographs that I'm interested or I don't have. Actually, I can put that up, can I?
Actually, I looked through it. I didn't see in the oral history, but it might be under a different designation.
Yeah. This is what I'm going to share. Can you see it there in our?
Yeah.
University of Florida?
Yeah,
The Canal?
George A. Smathers Libraries, and it's the University of Florida. That's just a little screen asking if you want to chat or do you need help or whatever. It's trying to be helpful. And as you scroll down here, you'll see the Canal Record,
Yeah.
Star and Herald, the Spillway, all kinds. And then there's the high schools, the Caribbean right there. Shows our yearbook.
Wow.
And look at all the years we got
Wow.
back from.
Wow.
So let's try to find 60.
Yeah, look at that.
There's our Caribbean High School. It goes to the front cover.
Oh, yeah, there we are. Yeah.
Just go page to page.
Wow.
So I can find my mama in there in 1925, Cristobal High School, huh?
Yeah.
That's probably right.
Yeah, I'd check and see if my mom actually went to high school.
Anyway, I just
Yeah,
think
when I was,
this is a great resource.
won-
Go ahead.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, fantastic.
well, when I was down there in Panama recently, I went to Cristobal High School and walked inside. The door right there by the auditorium was open, and I walked inside and I walked around a little bit. It's a kind of a school there, and there was nothing really going on, but you can't believe how deteriorated the rest of the buildings are and everything. All of Cristobal, all of that's being destroyed now because they are filling in the bay out there with all this dirt that they dug from the new construction and making it all bigger, making more streets and all. But all I can say is the Panamanians got worse after we left.
Well,
Oh.
nothing's as good as when we were young, right?
Well, I didn't believe it got as bad as it got. I'll tell you, you have no idea. I don't want to even talk about it. It's so bad.
Yeah. Well, all we've really got is right now. So that's what I'm going to have to stick with.
Oh, there's my ex-fiance.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
about half a year when I was in Vietnam.
Is that right? That's
Yeah,
Emily, right?
Yeah, she was teaching in Birmingham and I was in Selma.
Huh.
We got back together and got engaged.
Emily
be darned.
Hearn. There you
Emily
go.
Hearn. Yeah, look at that.
All right, I'm again with her too. Okay.
Maurice.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
And
guess
Reba. That's great. Keep going.
there's Frank.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were. Yeah. Oh. Still got the violin. Don't play
Okay,
it.
now I'm going to show you how to, I think I can capture, I'm going to try to catch on this. See where I come down here and I say save image as,
Yeah.
and I click on that, and then my screen comes up. It gives me a number over here. Well, I don't want to say that, so I'm going to say, oops, helps to spell. I'll just put Frank for now. And then it'll save it right to my computer.
Huh.
And I can look here to make sure, well, not there, not there, not there. Anyway, that's how you do it.
Good.
So, you know, a lot of people, I've always been just such a nosy person. There's McGloin.
Yeah, there I am.
Look how
Yeah.
tall you are.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Marion and Pete Ender are next. Oh, they were the runners up.
Yeah, Mel and Carolyn.
Who's next? And the runners up were Darcy and Hugo.
Yeah. Yeah. There's Bill and Diana.
And this is
Helen
Jules.
Spector.
Jules and Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah, okay.
Sarah Spector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Ada
Ada, yeah.
and Phil, Manfred.
Yeah, Manfred. Yeah.
Andrely Nash.
Yeah, look at that. Ed Donahue.
Oh,
Andy.
here we go. The baby pictures, folks. There you go. You have to guess who everybody is now. I know who these guys are. They're hard to miss. In fact, I think I saved that picture for your contact picture in my email.
Oh.
I saved that picture of Jim as his picture. I'm not in that one, so there's the next page. Oh, and guess who this is? You have to notice the ears.
Andra.
Andy.
That's Andra Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of that.
Yeah, there's me there, I think.
Which one?
Is that in the lower right-hand corner? I can't think. If I'm carrying a baseball in my left hand?
Yeah.
My father thought I was a left-hander, I guess probably because of that, but he got me my first glove was for a left-hander rather than a right-hander. But he was a left.
Yeah, I think that is you. And for some reason, I reduced the size down, unfortunately, and I don't know how to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all of you can do this to keep your friends and family entertained.
Yeah.
By just going to that Florida website and clicking through. So, that's
Good.
the fun time.
Terrific.
Thanks for that instructional lesson. That's important.
Well, what's new with me is I went yesterday to have a nuclear stress test on my heart.
Mm.
And I've had them every couple of years since I was in that serious car accident 25 years ago. That sort of damaged my heart. But anyway, I was just as anxious yesterday as I've been every other time, you know, because I'm sure this is going to bring on the big one. And it was sort of interesting because there were 3 people in the room, and my history didn't look so good, and my symptoms had been becoming more persistent, that I needed to have another checkup. But they were the nicest, most wonderful people, and explained everything. And she said, now I'm going to yell at you, and you got to keep talking to me, and I want you to wiggle your feet when I tell you to wiggle your feet, and I want you to breathe slowly and deeply when I tell you to. So, you know, now today I look back on it as being a very pleasant experience, even though yesterday I was terrified. So That's
Yeah,
me. Condemnation prior to investigation is always a bad thing.
yeah. The
And-
weird experience is when they inject that stuff into and just kind of feels like it's niacin going through the whole body.
It gets real warm.
Yeah.
Well, if
So,
I'm- as
so
long as,
Ruth Ann, they actually say that they think that some the heart problems came out of the accident.
well, I was hit in the left side and I broke 4 ribs on my left side. And so they had to remove my spleen, and my left hip was crushed, my left arm was broken. So it sounds logical that the whole heart went through a bit of a trauma there too.
Yeah.
And I was being followed in the hospital by a cardiologist who was concerned. So, you know, once the worry is over, you set that aside and say, oh, I'm back to normal. And I said that the first year, oh, I'm back to normal. And then I went, no, I'm not. And then after 5 years, oh, I'm back to normal. No, you're not. So, but I've adapted very well. That's a benefit of growing up in the military. By having to start over every 2 or 3 years, you learn to adapt to just about anything.
Yeah.
You know, I've always kind of thought I have a lot of heart issues now, but about 3 years ago I didn't have any really, other than I did have a pacemaker. But I fell out. I was playing golf with my brother-in-law, and I was getting out of the golf course, the golf cart, and my cleats stuck in the dashboard, and I literally flew up in the air and came on my back. I mean, landed flat on my back. Luckily, it was on the side of the hill, so I didn't get the full. But I've always thought that maybe that I mean, it knocked me out cold. And but I've always thought, well, maybe that was part of the problem with my heart was from that. I mean, it was a significant jam when I hit the ground. So
The trauma of just the big thud, you know.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So other than being careful for your bones, you got to be careful for everything else. So I've actually started using a cane again since Andra Lee's fall and breaking her bone, because I know as I'm looking at my medical records again, it says, oh, you've had osteoporosis for 3 years. It's like, oh, good, I forgot about that. But it's made me more determined not to just fall over, you know.
Yeah. Wow. And this test that you had yesterday, what was the outcome?
Well, she told me she couldn't tell me. She said, any other questions? And I said, yeah, tell me what it all means. But I was watching the monitors, and I definitely do have a left bundle branch block. So instead of a nice, concise heartbeat, I've got one that sort of waves around and goes way down and it comes way back up. It's you know, it doesn't look like a normal heartbeat. But the fact that I survived the day, no problem, came home, had a headache until about 10 o'clock last night, which was one of the severe symptoms I had during the test. Is other than the crushing pain in your heart and all this, I still had the severe headache all up in my head. So I'm fine today though. So I just babied myself all day and ate chocolate and watched Little Fires Everywhere, which is a book that I'd read. I think I have one more episode to watch and then I'm done. So I've been very lucky in having excellent health care. And I even told the techs yesterday that I was thinking about moving to Seattle, Bainbridge Island, where my son lives. There's a retirement place there that had a spot for me last summer. And I called my son and he said, well, Mom, we're thinking about traveling a lot. And it's a 30-minute ferry ride or 25-minute car ride to get to a hospital. And I've been with my doctor here for 30 years. So, you know, that was the determination. No, I'm not going to take this spot. I'm going to stay right where I am. I'm on the list for, you know, a little old lady's house out here. But I'm very happy.
Doctors will die sometimes.
Well, you know, I live in a house built in the 50s, crumbling paint, peeling, the cat's clawed all the furniture. But I have the same neighbors that I've had for 20 years. And in fact, I'm helping with one of my neighbors. She's got dementia, and so her husband needs to go shop and get his medical needs attended to. So I just go stay with her. And so, you know, I have a little community right here that I would be lost if I had to give it up. So even though it's difficult to climb the stairs, I have to carry the laundry up one step at a time. I put the laundry basket up and then I step up. And sometimes I'm out of breath climbing the stairs, but I've got the cutest little place. And people drive from all over Orange County to go for a walk around here. So, you know, all I have to do is walk down to the end of the street. I'm right in Newport Harbor. And so I am in the best retirement village I could think of right here. So
Yeah, sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful location too.
I just wish you guys
Is
were all
that the same
closer.
home, Ruth Ann, that Elizabeth and I visited you at in 1998?
No, that was in Northern California. I live in Southern California now. I think so.
Well, I thought it was on Lido Isle or one of those little islands in there.
It's Balboa Island. Did you guys visit me?
Yeah, we came up there. I was being sent to some training, and Elizabeth came along. We did Disneyland, and we came over and saw you.
Ooh. Don't
We
tell
weren't
me about-
married yet.
You weren't married yet? Oh,
No.
dear. Well, it's on Balboa Island, and if you came, it shows you my memory slipping. I'm
That's got
sorry.
to be it. You showed us your Panama room.
Yeah, I still have my panorama room.
That's got to be the same place then, yeah.
Do you have your own, those stairs, your own stairs?
Yes, I do have my own stairs.
Because I've installed those stair lifts before that you ride up and down on.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm a rental person. I'm not an owner. So, and my landlady is getting up in age and not doing well. And as my neighbor Chuck says, I live in a tear down. So if she passes away anytime soon, they're going to sell this place for probably about $5 million, even though it's a tear down, you know, and put up some mini mansion. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Location.
That's right. I'm very happy to live in my crumbling little paint peeling cat scratched house.
Well, even those stairs have a positive side of exercise. Going up.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and my legs are, well, not as strong as I used to be, but going up and down the stairs is a very good exercise for me. I sometimes get out of breath, but I can just stop. And then I've got chairs right at the top to sit in and look at the hummingbirds. So
Yeah. Wonderful.
come visit.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, my daughter went to medical school at USC, so we were back and forth to LA a lot during those years, and I didn't know you were right there. This was she was there from 1996 to 2000. She graduated medical school in 2000.
I think I moved here right around 1996.
You did? Oh. I'm sorry we missed you.
I am too.
Hey, you were up in San Jose before, weren't you, or Santa Clara?
I was in, actually it was called Saratoga, but it was between San Jose and Santa Clara.
Yeah. Well, I came over there and visited you from Oakland, where I had a house when Andrew was there with you one time.
Yes, we had a mini reunion.
Yeah, it was fun. You had kids all over the place.
Did. 3 boys in 2.5 years, and then we adopted a daughter when she was less than 3 months old. So, like I tell people, my husband had a foursome for golf, and we didn't want a baseball team.
Great.
Jeez.
I think Andrew was on her way with her husband and family to the Far East at that time. And I could only guess that it was like 1974 or 1975. But in 1978, I took a ship to Busan, where Ed was stationed as the naval supply officer, well, the military supply depot there.
Yeah.
And so in the afternoon, I had time off the ship. I went over to the gate and inquired about them. The guard knew them because, of course, Ed was in charge of the whole base. And he informed me, well, they just left 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no.
Wow. I caught a ferry from Busan to Jeju Island, which was quite an interesting place off the south coast of Korea. I was there.
That whole Tsushima Straits there is quite an interesting place. All those islands.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, in those days, you knew when you were getting near Korea because you could smell it 50 miles offshore.
What did you smell? The
Kimchi.
garlic, the kimchi?
Kimchi.
No, well, the sidewalks in the city were covered with like cement railroad ties, and there was just a small crack in between each tie, but right underneath them was the sewage.
Oh.
And so that gas would come up and just wipe you out in your face on those hot days. And that's what the smell was offshore, was that sewage.
Well, that reminds me when I flew into Kimpo Air Force Base to the airport there when I first was stationed in Korea.
That's in the northwest, isn't it?
Yeah, south of Seoul.
Yeah, but almost up in the corner of the northwest there.
Kind of, yeah. And then we had to take, I was going to Pyeongtaek where Camp Humphreys is located. And we went down through the fields, and of course they're fertilizing the fields with human feces and so on.
Oh, man.
So that smell was pretty pungent.
Yeah. On that same trip when I was over there in 78, we took a load of grain into Incheon, which was the port where they made the amphibious assault in 1952, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting port. And I realized what I was reading about in the history, the concern about the tides in regards to making the beach assault on a timely basis, because the harbor is in a tide lock like the docks were in London along the Thames. Because when the tide went out, there was not even any water at the base of the gates to let you into the tide lock there in Busan.
Yeah.
Or Incheon, I mean.
Incheon, yeah.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
And wasn't there, I mean, there are cliffs there, right? So that you have to have a higher enough tide so that you can even access the land, right?
I don't remember that. I've seen pictures of where they actually made the beach assault in one area, and there was quite a large embankment that they had to surmount to get up to level land.
Right.
But when we were there, this was quite an old ship, and it didn't have stevedore facilities. So we had to build a toilet over the rail of the ship for the stevedores to use. And the day we left, the chief engineer told me to go back and disassemble the toilet, bring all those things aboard, back inboard, and save them for the next time we called there. I went back there and there was nothing left. They took the toilet, they took the seat, they took the sink, they stole everything.
Wow.
What do you guys remember Sergeant Finnegan in Cristobal High, the ROTC? He was the last man standing in a human wave attack there in Korea. And, you know, he showed us all those combat films during lunchtime. He was trying to give us a warning. And luckily I got the message, you know, out of that one. But, you know, if you ever listen to what happened in Korea, it was so cold that the North Koreans were wearing so many clothes that what we were talking about, the 30 caliber carbine round wouldn't even penetrate their clothes. And you know, his story was amazing, and I really got it from him, and saved my life, I'll tell you.
Well, listen, you guys, I'm gonna leave for now, but I'm gonna, so you guys can carry on your conversation. I'll come back and check.
Well, I have to leave myself, but
I was gonna show you, you can't even see that. They're showing the Ruth Bader Ginsburg memorial today on on Facebook and also on YouTube if anybody's interested in seeing that. You see a lot of people you know coming, or senators and other government officials coming by. So anyway, I'll see you guys next week, and please come back.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
See you next week. Take good care.
Yeah.
Great to see you all.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.